I'm here with Ravioli, and today we are going to go over how to teach the dog to signal that they need to go outside. We're gonna teach Ravioli to ring these bells to go out the door, but it's super important to know that we've been potty training him for almost 2 weeks before this, and his owners were working on a routine and a schedule a month and a half before that. So it's super important not to jump to the signaling right away. He's 4 months old. He's just getting to the point of being able to earn some of the freedom out. And now I want him to be able to signal when he needs to go out, because as long as he's doing that, we can increase the amount of time that he has freedom out of his crate and after he goes potty outside. So before you get to that point, it's so important to make sure that you develop the strict routine with the crate, going potty outside, earning freedom in the house playing by going potty outside before you get to this point. What I mean by that is you need to first get to the point of where there's no accidents at all, because you're so on top of the dog, you're so strict. What I say to start is usually in the crate, then he earns freedom out of the crate by going potty outside. So if the dog goes potty outside, literally carrying him from the crate, not giving him an opportunity to go potty along the way, he goes outside, doesn't go potty, you bring him back inside and it's back to the crate. A huge mistake that people make is bringing the dog back inside after the dog did not go to the bathroom outside and giving the dog freedom, and then the puppy just goes potty right there. Of course they're gonna do that if they know that they're gonna have the opportunity to. So you take that opportunity away by bringing the dog back to the crate. Also, it will motivate the dog to go faster and faster and faster once the dog gets outside. What I've always done with my dogs is 20 minutes of freedom. So once the puppy goes potty outside, we get 20 minutes of play, and then we go back outside. If you go potty, you get 20 more minutes. Otherwise, it's back to the crate. So it's constantly being on top of the puppy until you get to the point of no accidents at all. A lot of people ask me what the definition of potty training really means, and it takes a while to get there. I mean, I wouldn't say a dog is potty trained until they can have full freedom and they're signaling to go out, but you can get to the point of having no accidents right away. Typically, when a dog comes to my house, it's really funny. They almost always have an accident while the owner's dropping the dog off and they're sniffing around. And that's the last accident that they have at my house while board and training, just because we're so on top of them and finding that structure that works best for them, and then working to increase the freedom. We've first increase the amount of crate time he has to teach him that he can hold it. Now, we started off with the crate not being a control area with Ravioli. Those are the hardest dogs to potty train when they have accidents in the crate, because you have zero control area. So when that's the case, we just had to be on top of him constantly. Even if he was in the crate, we'd only let him be in the crate for 30 minutes and then outside to go potty, and back and forth and back and forth. Then we increased the amount of time that he was in the crate. So now we've gotten to the point of where he's in the crate for about 4 hours. Not all the time, of course, but we just wanted to make sure that we could work up to that amount of time. So he actually was in the crate for about 4 hours today. And we've increased the amount of time that he can be out of the crate to about 2 hours. So he's understanding when he's out of the crate, he's holding it for about 2 hours, and then we direct him outside. So now to increase that 2 hours, I need him to be able to tell me that he needs to go outside. So we're gonna teach him how to ring a bell. The very first step is figuring out what command you wanna use. I like to use ring the bell. You can just use bell. So in the beginning, it's just going to be luring him to the bell. So I'm gonna tell him, ring the bell. Yes! So he obviously was just following the treat, had no idea that he rang the bell, but that's with everything. The dog never knows that they're sitting, really, until you give them the treat. Ravioli, ring the bell. Yes! Good boy! And I'm just gonna do repetition and repetition of this, before I even open the door and get him outside. So first I want him to understand the command. Then I want him to understand that that command equals door open and we go potty. You can also just start doing this right away. Every single time you take the puppy outside, you can just say, ring the bell, lure them there. Yes! And then open the door before they know. But I would also take specific training time out to be doing just repetition of this. Once he's good with the lure, I'll just do a point, and then I want to just be able to say it verbally, and then I want him to just be doing it on his own. A lot of small dogs are afraid of the bells too, so sometimes you have to start, I mean, any dog can be, not just small, but a lot of dogs who are afraid of this, you can't start with them up. You have to start with them just laying down, the dog coming near them, giving them a reward for coming near the bells even, just to get them over that fear of them. So the next step is to point at the bells, Ravioli, without the treat in this hand. So I'm gonna try with the harder thing first to let his mind connect, try to get him to do it without the lure, but if he's not following it, then I'll do the lure. Yes! So even a little jingle. I'm being strict and I'm making sure that there's a jingle sound with it before getting the treat. So because Ravioli is not understanding it with the lure, without the treat, I'm going to resort to an easier way for him, and I'm going to be less strict. So if you need to start out less strict and reward, that's totally fine. So what I'm gonna do is if he just touches the bell, and I'm gonna almost even bring it to him a little bit, touches it with his nose, then I'll reward him. Then I'll try to do it by not touching it, and he just touches it, then I'll reward him with a yes and a treat. And then eventually I'll only give him a treat if he touches it while jingling. Ring the bell. Yes! So he touched it with his nose, tell him yes. Ring the bell. Yes! Good boy. Ring the bell.